2 years ago. I moved states, got promoted, and my own family acted like I had disappeared. No call, no card, not even a fake congratulations. Then my cousin posted one innocent photo of me in front of my Raleigh house, my gray Porsche shining behind me. By lunchtime, my mother, who had ignored me for 700 days, finally texted. She didn't ask if I was happy. She didn't ask if I was safe. She wrote, "You could sell it? To help your brother." I stared at those words and smiled, because what they didn't know was already sitting in my drawer, waiting quietly. My name is Anna, and I was 35 when that text came in. By then, I had built a life that looked calm from the outside, a quiet house in Raleigh, clean white counters, fresh coffee in the morning, Daniel's suit jacket hanging over the kitchen chair because he always forgot to take it upstairs, our dog asleep near the back door, dreaming with his paws twitching against the hardwood. People told me I looked like I had everything together. Maybe I did. I had long brown hair I kept softly curled, a closet full of tailored dresses and blazers, and the kind of smile women learn to wear when they have survived too much without wanting strangers to ask questions. I was a regional director in medical technology. I negotiated contracts with men twice my age who tried to talk over me, and I learned to wait, let them finish, then take the room back with one sentence. But back in Columbus, I was never that woman. In my parents' house, I was the daughter who showed up early and left late. I chopped onions while my mother, Margaret, complained about her back. I cleaned the kitchen while my father, Harold, watched football and called it helping your mother. I picked up Ethan's kids when he forgot. I paid little bills nobody mentioned again. I fixed things, carried things, remembered birthdays, brought casseroles, smiled when I was tired. Ethan was different. Ethan was the golden son. When his third business idea failed, my parents called him brave. When I got an award at work, they asked if I could stop by and help clean the garage. That was the rhythm of my family. His failures were dreams. My success was background noise. There was an old family photo in my mother's hallway that explained everything. Ethan stood in the middle, one arm around each parent, grinning like he owned the room. I stood near the edge in a blue dress, half turned toward them, pretty and polished and already learning how to disappear. For years, I thought if I worked harder, loved them better, proved myself longer, they would finally turn toward me. They never did. And when I finally stopped standing at the edge of their frame, they didn't notice I was gone. The day I stopped trying to earn my place in that family was a Saturday in July. Hot enough to make the driveway shimmer, I had driven to my parents' house before noon with 2 bags of groceries, a tray of marinated chicken, and a bottle of white wine my mother liked but never thanked me for. The garage smelled like oil and cut grass. My father was standing beside an old shelf, pointing at boxes he wanted moved. "Since you're here," he said, like my time came free with the weather. So I changed out of my cream blouse, tied my hair up, and spent an hour hauling dusty bins while sweat ran down my neck. Then I went straight to the backyard and started the grill. Ethan arrived late. Of course, clean shirt, sunglasses, no apology. His kids ran through the yard while he dropped into a patio chair and started talking about his new cigar and wine distribution idea like he had just invented electricity. My mother leaned toward him like every word was a gift. I waited. I really did. I waited until the plates were full, until my father had a beer in his hand, until Ethan finally paused long enough to chew. "I have news," I said. Nobody looked up at first. I forced a smile. "I got promoted, regional director. They're moving me to Raleigh next month," for 1 second. The backyard went quiet. I heard the grill hiss behind me. A plastic fork clicked against a plate. My heart lifted, stupidly, like a little girl still waiting for someone to clap. Then my mother turned her head. Not toward me, toward Ethan. "Honey, tell your father about that country club order," she said. "The big one." Ethan grinned. 10 boxes, premium cigars, easy money. My father slapped the table. "That's my son. Real business instinct. I sat there with smoke in my hair and grease still under one fingernail, and something inside me went completely still. They had not forgotten to love me. They had chosen not to see me. 3 weeks later, I left Columbus before sunrise. I packed what fit in my car, put my work clothes in the back seat, and drove south with a gas station coffee burning my tongue. My phone stayed quiet all the way to North Carolina. No safe drive? No, we're proud. No, we'll miss you. 2 years passed like that. Silence, birthdays, holidays, promotions, Daniel, my house, my peace. Then Lily came through Raleigh on a road trip. She hugged me in the driveway, stared at my house, then laughed when she saw the gray Porsche. Anna. "You've been hiding a whole life," she said. She snapped a photo before I could stop her. Me beside the car, the house behind me, the morning sun hitting the windshield, by lunch. My phone started lighting up, and when I saw my mother's name, I knew this wasn't love coming back. It was hunger. At first, I didn't answer. I stood in my kitchen with my coffee going cold and read my mother's text again. "You could sell it to help your brother." Not, "How are you?" Not, "I'm sorry we disappeared." Not even congratulations. Just a straight line from my driveway to Ethan's debt. By 3 o'clock, the emails started. My father wrote one sentence, "Your brother needs family right now." My mother sent 5 paragraphs about sacrifice, duty, and how hard the economy had been on small business owners. Then Ethan sent his own message, casual and smug. "Must be nice sitting on that kind of money while your nephew and niece could lose everything." I almost laughed. Noah and Emma were always mentioned when Ethan needed a shield. That evening, Daniel found me in the study, staring at the printed messages spread across my desk. He was still in his work shirt, sleeves rolled to his forearms, tie loose, eyes quiet but sharp. "Do they know where you live?" he asked. "Lily tagged me," I said. He didn't curse. Daniel never wasted words when he was angry. He just picked up the pages, read them once, and set them down carefully. "Don't send money, don't promise anything, and don't sign one piece of paper." The next afternoon, my parents and Ethan showed up in a rental SUV like they were arriving for a family reunion I had somehow forgotten to host. My mother stepped out first, dressed like church, perfume heavy enough to reach me before she did. She hugged me at the door. I kept my arms at my sides. "My beautiful girl," she whispered. The words landed like a costume. Pretty, cheap, and not made for me. My father walked past me and looked around the foyer. Ethan came in last, eyes moving from the staircase to the art on the wall to the hallway that led toward the garage. He didn't see a home. He saw numbers. In the living room, he sat back on my couch and said, "Let's be realistic. You don't need a Porsche." Daniel's jaw tightened beside me. Ethan leaned forward. "I need about 40,000. Temporary issue, bad lease, delayed payments, supplier problem. You know how business is." "No," I said. "I know how responsibility is." My mother flinched, then recovered fast. "Anna, this is not the time to be cold. You could refinance or sell the car. Your father and I have been talking. And honestly, this house is too big for 2 people. If we sold our place in Columbus, we could help Ethan restart. And we could move down here. You wouldn't be so alone." There it was. Not a request, a takeover. That night, after they left with fake smiles and real anger, Daniel and I sat in the study. We pulled public records, old messages, bills, payments, debt notices, piece by piece. The story changed. Ethan's business wasn't struggling. It was already dead, and my parents hadn't come to ask for help. They had come to bury the body in my backyard. The next morning, I invited them back. My mother sounded relieved on the phone, like she thought guilt had finally softened me overnight. Ethan sounded almost cheerful in the background. I could hear him telling my father, "See, I told you she'd come around. I didn't correct him." At 2 o'clock, they walked into my living room like buyers touring a house they already planned to own. My mother sat with her purse in her lap, smiling too hard. My father stood near the fireplace, arms crossed. Ethan dropped onto my couch and looked straight at me. "So," he said, "how fast can you get the money?" I looked at him for a long second. "The Porsche first," I asked. "Or my house?" His smile flickered. My mother leaned forward. "Anna, Don't start. No, I want to understand. I picked up my phone and read her text out loud. You could sell it. To help your brother. That's what you wrote after 2 years of silence. Her face tightened. You didn't ask if I was happy, I said. You didn't ask if Raleigh felt like home. You saw one photo and started pricing my life. Ethan scoffed. Don't be dramatic. It's just a car. Daniel stepped beside the coffee table, quiet as a locked door. I opened the folder. The sound of paper against glass was small, but everyone heard it. This is the lease notice, I said. This is the unpaid balance. This is the supplier bill. This is the payment history. And this is the part you left out. Ethan sat up. You said your business had a temporary issue. It didn't. It stopped operating months ago. You weren't asking me to save a business. You were asking me to clean up the wreckage after you lied to everyone. That's private, he snapped. It became my business when you asked me to sell my car. My father's face turned red. Watch your tone, I turned to him. No. You watch the numbers. I slid another page across the table. You and Mom took out more debt against the Columbus house. You drained savings. You covered Ethan's missed payments again and again. And when there was nothing left, you looked at me. My mother's eyes filled instantly. The tears came fast, practiced, shiny. We are your parents, she whispered. I nodded once. And for 2 years. You remembered that only after Lily posted my driveway. Ethan stood. You think you're better than us now? No, I said. I think I'm no longer available. The room went still. He laughed, but it sounded thin. Available for money, for guilt, for emergency rescues, for being the daughter you ignore until someone needs a check. Daniel placed a printed notice on the table. This is not a lawsuit, he said calmly. It is a formal boundary. All future financial requests go through me. Any uninvited visits stop today. Any harassment, threats, or attempts to pressure Anna into signing documents will be documented. My mother looked at Daniel like he had slapped her. You turned her against us, she said. No, I said. He handed me a pen. I signed my own name. Then my phone buzzed. A message from my office appeared at the top of the screen, confirming the final vesting paperwork for my executive shares. The number was clean, official, impossible to argue with. About 4 million. Ethan saw it before I locked the screen. All the blood left his face. My mother stared at me like she was seeing a bank vault close. I stood and picked up my Porsche keys from the table. You came here to decide what I should sell, I said. Now I'm deciding what leaves. I walked to the front door and opened it. And this time, every single one of them noticed. After they left. The house did not feel quiet right away. It felt stunned, the kind of silence that comes after a plate breaks and everyone is waiting to see who will bend down first. I didn't bend. That night, my inbox filled like a backed-up drain. My mother wrote that I had humiliated her. My father said I had forgotten where I came from. Ethan sent one message after another, each one smaller than the last. At first, he called me selfish, then cruel, then confused, then, finally, when none of that worked, he wrote, Anna, please, just help me this once. I forwarded everything to Daniel. Then I made dinner. That was the first miracle. I stood in my kitchen, chopped garlic, warmed olive oil in a pan, and realized my hands were not shaking. The vent hummed above the stove. Daniel poured 2 glasses of wine. Our dog slept under the table like the world had not cracked open at all. For the first time, I did not run toward the fire they had started. I let it burn where it belonged. Over the next few months, the truth did what truth always does when people stop protecting lies. It spread. Claire found the unpaid bills Ethan had hidden from her. Then she found the messages where he promised my parents that I would come around once they got inside my house. She packed the kids and left for her parents' place in Michigan. No screaming scene, no dramatic goodbye, just a quiet exit with 2 suitcases, 2 sleepy children, and a woman who had finally seen enough. Ethan's business disappeared completely. The name came off the small office door. The phone line stopped working. People who used to call him ambitious started calling him irresponsible, but only when he wasn't in the room. My parents lost the Columbus house before spring. Aunt Rebecca called me on a gray morning to tell me. Her voice was soft, careful, full of guilt she had carried too late. They borrowed against it too many times, she said. Everything went into Ethan. There was nothing left to save. I looked across my living room at the old family photo I had taken from a box years ago. Ethan in the center, my parents glowing beside him, me at the edge, smiling like I was grateful just to be included. For a long time. That picture hurt me, that morning. It just looked accurate. A week later, my mother called from a number I didn't know. I answered because some endings deserve to be heard once. Her voice was thin. "Anna, I'm sorry. We made mistakes. Your father isn't doing well. Ethan won't answer us. We need family now." There it was again. Need. Not love, not remorse. Need. "I forgive you," I said. She started crying before I finished. But forgiveness is not access. The crying stopped. I could hear her breathing on the other end, waiting for the daughter she had trained to come back. I didn't. After we hung up, I took the family photo, wrapped it in tissue, and placed it in a storage box. Not because I hated them, because I was done living at the edge of the frame. That spring, I washed the Porsche in my driveway while Daniel made coffee inside. The water ran over the hood in silver lines, carrying away dust, pollen, and the last pieces of a life where I believed love had to be earned through sacrifice. My family wanted me to sell that car to save Ethan. Instead, I kept the car, kept my home, and finally stopped selling myself. If you have ever had family remember you only when they needed money, time, labor, or rescue, please hear me. You are not cruel for protecting your peace. You are not selfish for saying no. And forgiveness does not mean handing people the keys to hurt you again. If this story hit close to home, share your story in the comments. Someone reading it may need the courage you already found. And hit subscribe so you don't miss the next story. They wanted me at the edge of the frame. I chose to step into my own life.